Hi everyone, I am back with another video. So in this video we are going to learn about Google Cloud APIs and services. So by the end of this video you would have a good understanding about how we can enable and disable the Google Cloud APIs from Google Cloud Console as well as using SDK. So Google Cloud APIs are used to access the Google Cloud resources. And what are Google Cloud resources? So for example, we have compute resources, we have networking resources, we have a data storage and database resources, and so on. So if we want to use any resources, we need to enable the APIs. So APIs are get enabled per project base. So Google Cloud APIs are used to access the Google Cloud resources. Now let's see how we can access the Google Cloud APIs. So there are a couple of options to access these APIs. So we can choose client libraries. So that is built by Google itself. So for example, you can use a client libraries for Golang, Python, Java, Node.js, and there are other programming languages which supports the client library to call Google Cloud APIs. And we can also call the Google Cloud APIs from mobile apps using a Firebase, and we can use a Google Cloud SDK command line tool to access these APIs, and which we are using in our demo sessions. And we can also use a Google Cloud Console. Behind the scene it uses the Google Cloud APIs, right, to communicate with Google Cloud resources. So these are the ways which can be used to access a Google Cloud APIs. So we have available cloud APIs for compute engine, we have APIs for storage and databases, we have APIs for networking, data analytics, machine learning, and so on. If you want to learn more about what are the available Google Cloud APIs, I will provide the link at the end of this video or in the description, so you can go ahead and explore more about these APIs. So within a compute APIs, there are several APIs that are available. For example, for your compute engine, there is a compute engine APIs. For your Kubernetes engine, there is Kubernetes engine APIs, right? So these comes under compute APIs. Now let's talk about how we can list out and enable or disable the APIs using Google Cloud SDK. So for this, we are going to make a use of Google Cloud Services command. So we have a three commands for Google Cloud Services: disable, enable, and list, right? So disable command used for disabling any services, enable command used for enabling any services, list command used for list out all the services. Now let's see each command one by one. So first we will see the list command. So this is a basic syntax of a list. We use a gcloud services list command to list out all the enabled services. And you can see there are two flags, available and enabled. So available flag returns all the services available for that particular project, and it will also include services which are already enabled. So we have another flags called filter, limit, sort by, and so on. Now let's talk about the enable. So this is another command for Google Cloud Services. So we use this command to enable the services. So if you want to make asynchronous call for your APIs, so you can use the async flag and it will not wait for that process to get completed. So if you just run gcloud services enable command and provide the service name, it will wait for that service to get enabled. Now let's talk about the disable. So suppose if you want to disable any particular services or APIs, so we can make a use of a disable command. So the command would be the gcloud services disabled and the service name. So this command will go and disable that particular API, right? So here you can see there are two flags. So we have already talked about the async, what it does. To disable that services or API forcefully, you have to provide the force flag. Now let's quickly go and see all these commands practically. I have already logged into my Google Cloud account and I'm using a project called GCP Learning, and you can also see the project information here, the project name, project ID, and project number. Let's quickly see how we can enable and disable the APIs using a gcloud console. You just need to click this hamburger sign, right, and go to APIs and Services dashboard. All right, so this will show you all the traffics are coming for your APIs and the errors if there is any, and the latency, right? And here you can see the list of APIs which are enabled for my project called GCP Learning. If you want to see more information about any particular APIs, you can go ahead and click on that API to get more information about it, right? So it will give all the details and traffics, all these things. All right. So now let's quickly go to API and Services dashboard. So here you can see to enable and disable the APIs, we can directly click on this option, enable APIs and Services, or we can also click on this libraries. So we can click any of them, and this is the API libraries, right? So it will contain all the libraries provided by the Google Cloud. So I will search for compute engine, the APIs, right? It says a compute engine APIs. Just click on it, right? So here you can see all the information about this APIs, and you can, if you want to know more about it, you can just go through of this documentation and all this stuff, right? So here you can see the enable button, and I want to create some virtual machine in this project, right? So before creating a virtual machine, I need to enable this compute engine APIs. To enable it, just click on this enable button, and it will do some background work to create some default VPCs. So it will take some time to enable this API. So once this API is enabled and ready, you can go ahead and directly create the virtual machines inside your project, right? So it seems like it's get enabled, and we are redirecting to some new page. And here we can see the details about the compute engine APIs, right? So here you can see the name and the service name which this API will use, and the status. So it is right now enabled. So this is how we enable the APIs. If you go to dashboard, let me show you one more thing. So as soon as we enable that API, here is a compute engine API which is get enabled and shown in this list. Alright, and here you can see the number of requests, errors, and the latencies. Google Cloud APIs, click on that, and here you will see the disable API option, right? So if you want to disable it, click on that, and here you will see some warnings which basically saying if you disable this API, all the resources which is used by this API will get removed as soon as this API get disabled. If you have created some credentials for this project which is using this API, will not no longer be working, right? So right now I'm okay with it, so I will click disable, and it will go ahead and disable this compute engine APIs. So this is a one example which we have talked about, and if you want to use some other services, you can use the other APIs. Like for example, if you want to set up a Kubernetes cluster, you can use a Kubernetes engine APIs. All right. Now let's see the same stuff how we can do from command line. So I have already configured this project. So let's first see the simple option called the list command. All right. So I will use a command gcloud services and list, right? So it will list out all the enabled services for this particular project, right? If I hit enter, so these are the services which are enabled. Now let's see gcloud services list. So there are some flags called available and enabled, right? So enabled is a default one. If you don't specify, it will get applied automatically. And there is another flag called available, right? So what it does is it shows you all the available APIs for this project. It will also include those services which are already enabled, right? So if I provide available and hit enter, it will show up all the available APIs for this project, right? So the list would be very huge. So here you can see. All right, so let me clear the screen. Now let's see another flags. All right, so we have seen filter flag, right? So if we want to filter out based on some expression, we can use it. So suppose if I want to see storage related APIs, if we have enabled, okay, so we don't have storage related APIs. Let's search for compute. Okay, so for compute we have only OS login, gcloud services enabled, and we provide the service name. So we have provided the wrong service name. Let me just see the service name. Okay, so let's search for the service first. We need to provide available flag. Okay, so this is the name which I was searching. Now let's go ahead and enable this service, right? Or API, we use a gcloud service and enable command. All right, and here we provide the service name, which is compute.googleapis.com. all right, it will wait for that service to get enabled. So if we go and see in the console, if you go into dashboard, here you can see we don't have compute engine APIs enabled yet. So we will wait for this process to get completed. All right, so now let's see. Right, so this time I'm using this enabled flag, which is not required. If we don't provide this, the output would be the same. We can see this compute engine APIs. Let me just complete the disable first, and we'll go ahead and talk about the list and the other flags for the list. So to disable any services, you just need to use gcloud services disable, and you need to provide the service name. For example, I want to disable this services, and this time I will provide async flag, right? So this time I should not wait to complete that process, right? I will just make a call and come back. So if I hit enter, okay, so that call is made and this API will get disabled automatically, and now I'm ready to execute these other commands. So if we just list out gcloud services list, you can run gcloud service list command again, and you won't see compute engine APIs. All right, let me clear the screen. What other flags we have? So we have seen available, enabled, filter, and the limit. Okay, so if you want to see top 3, top 2, top 5 enabled services or enabled APIs, you can use limit flag. And suppose I want to see top 3 APIs which are enabled for this project, I will use this limit flag, and it will show me the 3 APIs which are enabled. Okay, and same way you can use a sort by flags gcloud services list, and you can provide sort by and the field name based on name. Okay, so I will provide name. So we will get the response in sorted order. So see, the name are sorted alphabetically, and if you want to sort the response based on title, you can also use that option. So these are the gcloud commands which we can use to enable, disable and list out the services or APIs using a gcloud SDK. So these links will be available on our Telegram group, as well as I will provide these links in the description as well, so you can directly go and check it out. Alright, so that is what I planned for this video, and thank you for joining me in this video. And if you have any question, concerns and doubts, let me know in the comment section. I will try my level best to answer them as soon as possible. And if you want to connect with me, these are my social media links. You can go ahead and check it out. And yeah, that's it from this video. I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye and take care.